Hello, good morning. I hope you're doing great. This is another exciting time to be with you guys again. It's the Photoshop Basics and it's part 8 of this Photoshop Basics class. I'm sure if you've been following, you must have gotten to the point where you can, call yourself a content creator by 30%. And that's a good score. I mean, it's just a week from the day we started. Alright, my name is Osmond and here I am. I'm a content creator. I'm also an animator, so you can check out my videos on animation. I'm just bringing them up gradually. Okay, I posted one this morning, how to move your After Effects project files to another PC. So you can check that out if you're already an animator or you want to be one. Alright, so but don't worry, I'll come up with classes for After Effects very soon. Just stay tuned. A master class is also on soon. We'll be kicking off very soon. I had prepared it down that okay, maybe by June we'll kick off the Pro Master class, and this Pro Master class, not the free version now. If you're in the free version, don't worry, you can enjoy a lot of goodies, but when you want to be advanced or you want to be an intermediate, you need to join the Pro Master class, and believe me, it's affordable. I'm going to make it very, very affordable with a lot of things, freebies coming by, okay? But for the free master class, after this month of May, we're going to limit some informations and learning that we give out so that we can focus on the Pro Master class. So that's the plan, okay? So let's make sure that we follow this up, because once we are done with this Photoshop Basics in this month of May 2022, it will be very difficult for us to come back and start taking questions so please follow through, except you port into the Pro Master class, then we can talk more. So but for today, we're going to be talking about brushes. If you followed, we've talked about tools and its functions, and we got to brushes. Okay, when we got to brushes, we just talked about it, a few things. But today, I want us to really go into brushes, okay? This is like a bonus for you beginners. You're not supposed to know this, but somehow I'm just led to teach it. So, okay, so let's look at brushes very, very well. Okay, I tried to rush the other class because it was a beginner's level and all that, but in this class, I want to see how we can treat brushes as it's supposed to be treated, from basics down to where I think it's okay for us to know. So the first thing is that the brush tool is B. The shortcut is B on the keyboard. So when you press B, automatically you activate the brush tool. But the brush tool is not just a single tool, so it comes with a family of tools. I just put only my mixer brush tool and the brush tool, and I changed the shortcut, but originally it comes with about 4 brushes, and they are all B's too. The thing about Photoshop, you need the other brush, you hold on shift and press B. But I think because I use mixer brush, I do photo editing too, and I also use the brush too. I don't want to be confusing. When I want to use it, I have to press shift B, and when I'm done I have to press shift B. No, I just want to make sure I have them in different keys. So I selected Y for mixer brush tool, and it's a nice shortcut if you want to also retain that. Alright, then the brush tool is here. I know we're going to talk about it, but one thing you need to know about every tools is that for you to see, every tools has its own icon. But if the caps lock light is on your keyboard, you should know your caps lock light. If it's on your keyboard, you don't see the shape of that tool. Okay, if you select a pen tool now, this is a pen tool, P for pen tool, and you select the caps, or you put on the caps lock light, you can't see the pen tool any longer, and so it's very difficult. But when you put up the caps lock light, you can see it too. So it's a very important thing you should take note of. All right, so I have the B now for the brush tool, and what you see there is just a circle, okay, that moves around with you. And if you have a new layer created, you can it can be used as a kind of a write something on it and all that. That's what the circle is for. And how you do that is you click and drag and more scribble around anything you want to do until you are through. You can release, and all of them is in one layer. So you see, you can do a lot. You can create another layer. Let me put off that layer, and maybe I just sign my name there. I'm not using a graphical pen, so you can tell why my writing is that rough. Okay, I'm just using a mouse. Don't worry, I'll get a graphic pen soon. Okay, so this what brush 2 can help you do. Now, if you look at this thing we just did now, you will notice that it has some features. It's a black color. The writing is small in size, and just as we are writing, we are seeing the kind of will I say smoothness or the roughness of it and all that. So we can do a lot of tweaking to this brush too. To the brush too, and for your level, you will just see how you could harness this into creating good designs. Okay, let me switch off that layer and let's go over the settings now. Now from the top here, the function, the properties here, you will see that the size of that brush is 29. That's what it means. Okay, we can increase the size of the brush in various methods. Okay, let's start with 1 first. Create a new layer and have it there. We can right click and we have that 29 pixel that is also here, 29 pixel, and we can increase it. And when you have increased it to an extent, you really want to see the size, you bring out the brush. You just like slide out of that dialog box that open when you're right clicked. Okay, notice that when you right click on the canvas area, okay, and maybe not on all other places here, just on the working area. Okay, and this dialog box only appears for the brush 2. So now that we have changed the size, you can see the size, and if we are okay with that, we can just press enter with that. That's the first method. The second method is also by going here. You can just come here, select it. It's the same thing that showed up. Okay, but now we have made the brush bigger, so we can just press enter key, and that has entered. The other method is with the keyboard. There's the bracket. I don't know why I have to call it this, but the squared bracket, open and close, just immediately after the P, the letter P on your keyboard. The open and close. The open is the reduce, the close is the increase. So if you press, let me put the mouse in the middle. If you press the keyboard, the bracket on the keyboard, you see it increases. Okay, so that's the third method. Now there's also another method, but this time around with the mouse. Most photo editors use this a lot. Okay, I follow Piximperfect, and that's how I got to know about this method. So what you do for this method, you hold an Alt key and you right click and drag, not left click now. Right click and drag, and you can see the size of the brush in the diameter as it changes. But you also have other properties like hardness and opacity also showing. Okay, so now when you have increased the size, you can see it. Notice that when we're holding an Alt and dragging, we're seeing one red color, but the red color is just to help us to know that it is to know the hardness and the softness of the brush. So that brings me to hardness and softness of the brush. What do we mean by when a brush is hard, and what do we mean by when a brush is soft? Okay, if you click on any area right now with the black, you will notice that the edges of this object are sharp. Okay, and if we change it to a soft brush, right click and reduce the hardness to 0 and press enter key and click once, you notice that this is really a soft edges. In fact, we can't even say this is where the end stops with this. So what we have here is a soft brush and a hard brush here. So that's what it means. So we can also do the increment of the hard brush, just as we have it in 0 now. We can hold down Alt and scroll from top to bottom. Okay, this is one thing I didn't say. When we're scrolling to increase the size of the brush, we're scrolling from left to right. That's how we're dragging, not scrolling now. We're dragging, forgive me please, we're dragging from left to right. And what we're doing for hardness, we are dragging from top to bottom. Your mouse can move up, like move up this way and move down, and it can move to the right and move to the left. So when it's moving from the top to bottom, it's increasing or decreasing the hardness of the brush. And when it's moving from left to right, it's increasing or decreasing the diameter of the brush. So to better do this, you hold down the Alt key and you right click and drag down. Now you can see I'm taking it down, and as my mouse icon goes down, the brush gets harder. Okay, same thing when I go up and the brush gets softer. Okay, same thing when I go to the right hand side, the brush gets bigger, and when I go to the left hand side, the brush gets smaller. So a lot of photo editors use this because they are so fast, and some of them just touch the keyboards sometimes or just use the mouse. And so whichever one that makes you work fast is fine. It's just they all do the same thing. All right, so that's hardness and softness of the brush. The next thing you want to know is that brush have types. We have very different types of brush. Apart from just the hardness and the softness of the brush, we have brush that are scattered, like scattered brush. And the brushes are numerous. Okay, people create it and they are like sometimes what you have to install, like plugins. You have to install them and before you can use them. So I have a lot of plugins, and sure, you might want to request for them. Don't worry, make sure you join my Telegram channel because I'll be uploading a few of them for the beginners and more of them for the advanced class students, okay, or the pro master class students. All right, so to get hold of those brushes, there are some that Photoshop comes with, and that comes with Photoshop rather. And when you right click or you go to the top there, you will see many brushes there. There are some I use, okay, but let me just right click and show you. I use this. I have this half tone. It didn't come with Photoshop. I installed it. Let me just close it and show you. First of all, the ones we are using is inside the general brush. That's the one we use now, the soft and the hard round brush. We have other types there. They practically just look alike. Let's go for the dry one now. The dry one, okay, let's see what it does. Press enter key and then let's increase the size. What's the size of 8 pixels? Too small. Let's increase it. Yeah, increase it to somewhere around there. Yeah, so you can see how this brush looks like. You can see the flow is 38%, so we can increase the flow to 100%, so it's black completely. You can see that. All right, so that's that brush for you, and this can mean a lot to someone. If you use it for a design, you can just use it to do something very good. You can select the white color and do the same thing around here, just like that. All right, so that's type of brush. Let's right click and check out some again. You can just try so many of them, but there's one of my favorite that I use a lot, so that it's this half tone, and I just want to show you how it works. I think I use 6 or 7. Let me see. Yeah, 7. I also use 6 too. Okay, you can see the shape of the brush. When you select it, it comes out and all that. So to use this brush, I'm going to just press enter key, remove this layer now. And one of the things you also need to know about the brush, using the brush tool, is that you must create a new layer, okay, where you want to put, or select the layer where you want to put the brush. So it does not create layer on its own. You just need to create an empty layer before you apply it. And now when you are applying, you should take note of the foreground and background color. This foreground and background color has its kind of a operation from the keyboard. You can use toggle the keys D sends it to default, meaning just as it is showing white on the foreground, white on the background, you might want to change that to the default. The default is black and white, not white and white. So if you press D for default, you have it changed to the default. So you have black and white, black on the foreground, white on the background. But what if you wanted to, okay, first of all, you should know that the brush uses the foreground to paint. I mean, what the brush will emulate from is whatever is on the foreground. So whatever color is on the foreground, the brush tool will take that color. But you can also transpose what is in the foreground to the background and the background to the foreground. And the way to do that is to press X on the keyboard. X for xylophone. Okay, so if you press X on the keyboard, the white comes to the foreground and the black goes to the background. So this tells you that when you want to paint with the brush, what will come out is white, And imagine if we paint with white on this layer, definitely the background layer is white and we can't see white, so we have to transpose back to black. So when we transpose back to black, we can increase the brush because we can already see the boundaries of the box, and maybe you want to increase it so that it can fill up the entire place. You just increase it like so. Then you can damp once. Now before I damp, I always check my opacity level and flow level. I will come to talk about this soon. They are 100% all true. But even if I damp and I don't really like how bright it is, just like I know I'm not going to like it, I can also control the opacity over here. This opacity control it serves for each layer, not all layers, each layers, just layers only. You just have to go back to my first, second, or maybe third classes, maybe part 3 classes where I talked about layer, panel settings and all that. That's where you get to know more about this. So let me now damp once. I'm just going to click once, and now that I've clicked, that's what you have there. So I can change back to my move to V, and we have that. And so you see that's a half tone. We can reduce the opacity just by pressing a number. I said this in previous class, so I pressed 2 for 20%, and we have a very sweet, calm looking white background that, once you just drop something on this, now it's going to make a whole lot of sense. Let's give it a try. So let's drop the Pro Master class over there. Let's just take the whole folder, PMC, and send it to the Untitled. We didn't title our, so we'll send it to the Untitled, select it, and this is an artboard, so we'll put it at the center. And so because the Pro is white, so we can't see Pro right now. So let's select the Pro and give it a different color. Pro. Let's select the class and also give it a different color. And there's the logo there too. There's the Instagram icon. So give it black. And okay, it's so close there. Let's increase the size now to 16. That's for the Instagram, and take it to the top there. So I think we should remove this out of this because I want to be able to control this. And so I take this to the center again, press Ctrl T to transform, zoom out a bit to increase, and zoom back to fit to window. Alright, so this Pro Masterclass, and you can see how simple the design looks just because we added a background that's just subtle, and this is what your brush tool can help you to do. So of course, if you need this halftone, just hit me up and definitely it's yours. Okay. Alright, so that's how we can do this. Let me just bring in this object into Untitled, and so I can press Ctrl T and press enter. Okay, alright, so it's done. Then we can select this, press Ctrl L. If you are in the weekend class, you will know I talked about these levels. Ctrl L and just press OK there. Press Ctrl T and take it to the end and edges there. You will notice that every time you press Ctrl T on already effect applied object, it always changes back to its original state. It's normal. That doesn't mean you didn't do something right. It's okay, but it's normal for it to behave that way. So I just have to hold down Alt and drag this filter that I applied into this other one, and it's like a copy of filter to the other one. So with these two selected, I group it and I call them elements. to remind me that they are just elements flying around. Then I can reduce the opacity. Let's take 5 is fine, and so that's just it. So let's save this work now as a brush 2 example. So that is it. Now if you get hold of my brush tools, like most of all these tools are the plugins that I'm going to be sharing with you. That's the brush files I'm going to be sharing with you. How to install it is also very important for you to take note of. Okay, I'll go to where my brush tool is. Like we have this one here. The brush tool files always come with as .abr. Okay, and I'm using Bridge anyway, but let me reveal it in Explorer so that most of us who don't have Bridge can understand what I'm doing. Alright, it will sometimes show Photoshop file, but it's not a file you can open and view, so you just have to right click and make sure that you open with Photoshop. Okay, if you don't see the Photoshop icon like this, then it means that you must do open with. But if you see it like this, you can just click on open. Photoshop will take care of that. But one way to make sure that you install it properly, or you have installed it properly, is to make sure that the Photoshop is open while it's loaded and it's open while you want to do this. So you can right click and select open, and automatically your Photoshop will just open up like this, but nothing has taken effect. All you just need to know that this brush took effect is when you press B right now and right click and close the folder that houses all the halftone brushes. You can see in the halftone brushes we have many brushes. Let me make sure what's going on. Excuse me first. That's brush 2. Okay, I don't have any layer selected, that's why. Okay, let me select a new layer. So right click, then let me show you like brush 1. Look at how brush 1 is. Brush 2, look at how brush 2 is. Brush 3, see brush 3. So different brushes in this halftone is a folder, so you can just close the folder and you see the one we installed, 20 dispersion brushes. Just same thing we have in the Explorer, 20 dispersion brushes. So it's there, it means it's installed. So let's see what it can do. Just right click, open to it, and we have it's a love dispersion. Okay, for the sake of love, let's just, I love you guys, let's just have one of these added to the design so you see how it looks like. Okay, I think I prefer this one. Okay, so, and one thing again you should know is that brushes can be rotated. This can help us rotate the brush. You can see how it looks like, but I'm thinking that it should be somewhere around let me escape this now. Somewhere around here, somewhere around this place. Let me use my move to somewhere around this place. So I have to select the brush tool and make sure that I rotate to that extent. One way of doing that accurately is to hold down the arrow button, the left or right arrow button. I'm holding down the left now, so it's twisting, and you can see how it is right now. So, but I want to make sure that I'm not going to do that with a black. Love isn't black, love is red. So okay, so I'm going to use a red. So I select red, and that's what's on the foreground. Then I can reduce it a bit, reduce that just a bit there, and drop it once. Okay, I didn't take note of opacity and flow, but it's fine. It's very okay like that. And most of you that do birthday designs, you will definitely need this brush plugin. So hit me up if you like it, if you want it, and I will send it to you ASAP. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoy this brush 2 class. Brush 2 is a very serious tool, so that's why I had to give it a dedicated class. All right, for master's class you will be learning some advanced features of this brush 2 class, but so far this is how far we can go for this beginners class. Why I had to go this way is because we're going to make use of most of all this for future works. So I think I have been able to conquer that bridge now. All right, thank you very much. One of the things you need to do for me is make sure you subscribe, because I am out here to give you reasonable content for you, and of course you will definitely love it. Hit the notification button and like this video, share it, send it to some persons who are aspiring to be good designers, and let them just get a hold of this. I mean, I shared my knowledge with you. You too can also share this to someone else who is out there, so that he or she can gain. All right, make sure you follow us up on Telegram also, and of course our Instagram is ZMDAA. Try as much as possible to follow us on Instagram. And of course, until next time, see you. Peace out.